as modern day humans, we're all pretty deconditioned in extension. It's something we need to train. You need to be able to, you need postural endurance, we'll call it. So your glutes, your abs and your lower back, your spinal erectors need to contract, isometric. They just basically need to hold a position, stabilize your lower back.
Hello and welcome to the UK Surf Show. We are your hosts. I'm Pete.
And I'm Leighton. Before we get into this episode today, we need to say a few words about the sponsor of this episode.
Yeah, the sponsor of this episode is Golden Boy. That's Golden Boy spelled B-U-O-Y.
As in Surf Boy.
Yeah.
Sea Boy?
Sea Boy?
Water Boy? Where it is.
Little boy.
Yes, so this is another lockdown company which we love. Launched in March 2020. It was launched by a guy named Paul, who was a former water sports instructor, and he now works in marketing and branding for the last 11 years.
You can tell he's worked in it as well.
Yeah.
The designs of the T-shirts and stuff that he sent us have been designed to look retro, and they've got that kind of retro surfy feel about them as well.
Yeah, like an old school classic kind of design. Yeah. So they do numerous things on their website. It's from T-shirts and bags and stickers and cups and stuff. So it's all like
coffee cup holders. He sent us a massive collection of stuff. We should say thank you very much for that.
Yes, thank you very much, Paul. Yeah, and but what I really like is what you've got in your hand right now.
This was I was most excited about what I've got in my hand. So, So Paul sent us this, like
a goodie
collection
bag
care package of like T-shirts and coffee cup holders, stickers, and like bags over your shoulder, like beach bag.
Yeah,
they've all got really cool designs on it. But in there's a little card that says "Thanks for your order," and the card it's got loads of spiel on it that says thanks for your order and blah, blah, blah. But at the bottom, it says, I'm full of seeds. Rip me up, pop me in the soil and water me. So you can actually, the card that comes with it saying thank you for your order, you can actually plant seeds with it.
That is so cool. Look, that is, I've never seen that before. So not only is it, would you call that recycling?
Well, I think everything's made out of recycled.
Yeah, but like that paper,
like
you're not putting it in a recycling bin.
Mega recycling.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely fantastic. And thank you to Golden Boy, the sponsors of today's show. Go and check them out. And if you buy anything from them, we have a discount code that will get you 10% off anything you order. And that is UK Surf Show, all one word.
Yeah, and that is valid until February 2022.
Don't forget, listen to the end of the show and there'll be more discount codes for the Logfin Co, Northcore, and of course again for our show sponsors, Golden Boy. So, on with today's show.
Anatomy of a Surfer. With our trainer, our fitness trainer, Alan Bisker.
Yeah, Alan is a trainer.
He's a professional strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, he works with the Olympic team, the Olympic cycling team. He's a keen surfer. He's been surfing for many years, as you'll hear as well. He stopped surfing for a while and then blames us.
That's because he lives in Manchester.
Yeah.
He's in the velodrome.
Yeah. And then he blames us for getting back into surfing and said we cost him a fortune. But
Blames, or does he? That's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But let's explain the situation, because this is a really good podcast, and we've been like kind of chatting to Alan through a group chat that we've made for since we started this kind of training regime with him. So it's like over 4 months now. You'll hear how good it is and how well we're doing with it. But we are all very relaxed in the room because we're all together. Alan come down from Manchester. We went for a surf session at the Wave together, and then we've bought him a takeaway, didn't we? And we're in your house, and so we're all really relaxed and chilled. So just bear with us if it's not as descriptive as it should be, because we're just having a laugh. But when you come across exercises that Alan mentions to help, basically breaks down every process for surfing, and for example, paddling out, and he will tell you a couple of tips of exercises that would help with your paddle strength. So when he mentions them, we obviously can't go into detail on describing them. So pause the podcast, look them up on YouTube, and save them or whatever you want to do to help you with that.
Yeah. And he does also say, you know, the program that Alan's designed. So he's designed a program that's going to be out there now with, I think he's on Instagram as Adrenaline Athlete.
Yeah.
And that program is going to be available to people out there. He does say on this, you know, like, because I said to him, what's the difference between something like you're doing or something we did with like Surf Fit Academy before.
Yeah.
And he does say, you know, Surf Fit Academy, like with Ollie that we spoke to before, you're going to have that one-on-one, you know, you feel like you're
like a personal trainer.
Like a personal trainer that you're answering to, so that pushes you. But if you're the type of person that is motivated to exercise and you can do it,
or you can't afford to pay for a personal trainer,
this is going to be something that's affordable, and even just the information that you're going to get in these 2 episodes. I've been myself paddling for waves that I wouldn't have paddled for before. Yeah, and I mean, the other day you caught the wave of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I've never surfed better since doing this. Yeah. Since doing this training regime.
It wasn't hard though, was it?
No, that's probably right. But what he explains is he's kind of like the middle option, isn't he? So if you're going to the gym anyway and you're doing workouts, that's fine. Or if you've got a personal trainer helping you train specifically, that's fine. But if there's a middle ground that you want, where you want to pay a little bit of money and you want to get some like proper knowledge, really, he's a clever guy, some actual knowledge specific for surfing, then Alan fills that void.
That's enough babble from us about it. We may as well let Alan talk about it. And here we go with part 1. Also, at the end of part 2, we will have a discount code for the Adrenaline Athlete Training Program.
Hello, I'm Alan. I'm a professional strength and conditioning coach. I work with the Great Britain cycling team as well as other athletes privately. Do a bit with the FA, and recently got my new appointment as lead strength and conditioning coach of the Welsh Adaptive Surf team.
Amazing.
Nice. That's after speaking to you guys.
Well, yeah, we open doors for people, you know.
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it?
That's all we're good for, just opening doors.
Yeah.
That's not official yet, so that could backfire. They might be like, nah, you're all right, mate. But yeah.
Right, so
I'll either beat that bit out if it's not official by the time this comes out, or I'll just leave it in.
Leave it in, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you come to light, you sent us an email and basically said, you guys up for a challenge? Which
Leighton said yes, and I said nope.
Well, yeah, it's an honour to be on because you guys you're the big time now. You're getting spotted in Saunton, getting noticed in Saunton.
Yeah, that's because that's the only place we go.
Or did they just like notice your traps? Traps.
Yeah, we'll explain that when we. Yeah, so basically, what's happened is Alan contacted us and said we're up for a challenge, and it's basically training us the way that you break down and train the Olympic athletes for cycling. You said you were going to do that for surfing because you're a surfer as well, and sent these programs through to us, and we've been doing it for now month 4. We're into the 4th block.
I know it hurts.
Yeah, it does hurt. It's really painful. So I've exercised quite religiously, as you know, like throughout my life. I've never trained like this. Right. It's really, really hard, but the benefits from it and like the progression is really quick.
It's really hard, but you're getting more recovery, aren't you? I think.
Yeah, because that was the problem I was having. So anybody that listened to the Ollie podcast that we did, so
the Surf Fit Academy.
So we chatted to Ollie, and he was basically talking about how general fitness is good for surfing, and we had messages of people saying they wanted to go more in depth and things like that, and I think we kind of sent a few people to Ollie, like Ollie answer your questions kind of thing. But this is why we've got Alan on, because he's been training us, and also he's going to go into depth, so listeners will have something to take away to help their surfing, like specific things. But anybody listening to that podcast will know that I struggle to relax and have downtime from, like, I feel like I need to work out every day. Yeah. And then since we spoke to you and you explained it really well, so we're on like a WhatsApp group, and you explained recovery to me in a way that my workout demons went, oh yeah, that makes sense. So now I've been actually recovering and working out the way you said, because I think you said follow the program exactly. You have to follow it exactly to get the results that you want, and I have done. And it's just been flipping amazing for us.
Yeah. Before we go into, so what's the difference? If someone's listened to like the recent one of the Surf Fit Academy, and then they're going to listen to this, what's the main difference? What's the difference between like going to see the Surf Fit Academy, and what's the difference between what you've done with us?
I think probably the main difference between the two, to be honest, having listened to Ollie's, he knows what he's talking about when he's talking about the programming side. I think the main difference will be Ollie's there to keep you accountable. There's quite a lot on accountability, and there's a individual level of coaching. Basically, this was all born out of me getting back into surfing, listening to you guys. I spent an absolute fortune on new gear and stuff, which is entirely your fault. Because my wetsuit was falling apart, so naturally needed a new winter and summer wetsuit. It's just ridiculous. But I was like, okay, I'm going to start surfing again. I booked a session in Surf Snowdonia, intermediate 2, I think. And I was like, I should be fine on that. And I'm a strength and conditioning coach, so I should have some baseline understanding of what it would take to prepare for a session like that. But I just didn't give it much thought at all, to be honest. And I was like, I'll just do a bit of swimming. That'll be fine. And I went, and I caught 3 waves, and I basically just flopped off them, so I didn't really catch them. So I came away from it like, that is not happening again. It was great to be in the water after 8 years, but that's not happening again. I'm going to go away and do what I would do with a new squad at British Cycling, or if we were preparing someone for the Worlds or Olympics or whatever it was, or if somebody came into my own gym, a footballer or whatever it might be, go away and just go through the process of studying the literature. What does it say? You build up a bias in your head naturally as a coach when you start to plan for a program. You do have ideas in your head that will probably work in terms of the right adaptations. What do you need to work on? But you can't just stop there. You need to actually go out and look at literature and be like, is what I'm thinking in my head relevant? Does it work? Is there any scientific basis for it? All this sort of stuff. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do for myself. And because I listen to you guys intently, you could call me a super fan. I'm in your house now, mate. I'll be like, are you awake, Peter?
It's going to watch you sleep.
That's all right, don't worry about it. You sat there with the dog and the cat at the end of the bed watching me.
Yeah, so I got in touch with you guys on Instagram and explain, well, firstly, thanks for getting me back into surfing. I can't believe I stopped. And I'm going to think about pulling together some kind of program that will be repeatable, that will get me to a certain level, so that if there are waves, I know that I'll go there at a decent level of preparedness. Okay, it might not be like a 3-month plan and kind of peaking and tapering for like a holiday or a tournament, and we can come on to the differences between the two, but I know that I will always be at a certain level. I know that I'll be able to paddle into and catch any wave, so that next time I go to Surf Snowdonia, that's not a problem. So I basically said, knowing Leighton loves a bit of exercise, and Pete less so at the time, but definitely more now.
Exercise.
Just got in touch, and obviously you were up for it because the exercise demons sort of sat on your shoulder like, you've got to do it.
Yeah, it's been huge for me. I've got time now.
Well, yeah, weird. I think going back to the podcast with Ollie, he's right in as much as you were training far more than you needed to. Olympic athletes, they train every day, twice a day.
Right.
But it's periodized, and they have high-low days, and their load is managed. But you have to remember,
killing myself all the time. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. You have to remember that is their job. Yeah. They have no other stresses.
Yeah.
The amount of times that some of the cyclists or other athletes, mainly the cyclists that I work with, will be like, oh man, I had to get up at 7:30 this morning. I'm like, what? That's amazing. And that, that's a real gripe. They get up at 7:30, they'll come in, they'll do a gym session, and then they'll be on track. They might have a double day on track. So they'll train 5 days a week. So they will train more than you, but you go to work.
Yeah.
You know, you come home and there's stuff going on at home. You have other stresses in your life. If you're a professional athlete, all of that, if you're in, depends on what kind of governing body you're kind of linked to. With British Cycling, the resources are in place to take all that away from you. So you just come in and ride your bike and go to the gym.
Yeah.
So everything is a stress.
Yeah.
So when you start training in the way in which you were training, you do hit a roadblock. It's quite hard to overtrain.
Yeah.
You know, there's quite a big thing made about overtraining. That's actually quite hard, and you get ill and hormone imbalances and all sorts of bad stuff. But what does happen is you end up just stagnating.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I think the biggest change with you has been the fact that you look forward to a deload week. Like, you actually look forward to a deload week. And you have less, you know, in your work weeks. There's less volume in there.
Yeah, but then the actual like sessions herself. I don't know if you've like picked up on like things that maybe I would have struggled with or whatever. But there's exercises which I was kind of subconsciously avoiding because I wasn't that good at them, and that was then like affecting me in like back pain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I haven't really had back pain since doing this, which is just such a... Like, I've had back pain for like 15 years, and my back feels strong. And I just thought it was just kind of the process of getting older, and it isn't at all.
I would say for the general population, I hate that term, it's so clinical, but general population, basically everyone who isn't a professional athlete, I think it becomes even more important to strength train as you get older. Yeah, you know, don't go mental. You know, ease your way into it, but it becomes more and more important for longevity and performance. Performance isn't just about how fast you can run and cycle or whatever. It's how you perform in your everyday life. And
when we started this, and then we started the group chat between us three, and then I think you went, because you started a little bit before us, didn't you, on the program that you designed for yourself, and then you kind of sent ours over, but you went surfing before we did. So what was the difference that you found in
the paddling?
Yeah,
the paddling was the first thing, and I've tried to look at it. I am I would say low level, maybe high level beginner, low level intermediate. So I can catch. Well, at that point I couldn't catch a wave, but I consider myself to be an intermediate because that's what I was before I stopped surfing.
Yeah.
So
why did you stop surfing?
Because I had to move up to Manchester, didn't I?
Not many waves.
It's a sore point. But that's ridiculous though, because there are. I know. Yeah. So I moved up to Manchester. Don't get me wrong, I love Manchester, but it's an ongoing debate with me and my wife about, you know, moving back to God's country at some point. I am from the southwest. I didn't say that in my
introduction.
Intro.
Yes.
Yeah, proud Devonian.
Yeah.
So I've got like weird feelings about like the order that you put clotted cream and jam on your scone.
So
I nearly came to blows with someone at a wedding the other day about that. In Cornwall.
Where was that wedding?
In Bude.
Anything else happen at that
Not
wedding?
the hotel.
Anything else happened at that wedding you want to share with our lovely listener out there?
I'm not going to name the hotel because that's not fair.
No, don't name the hotel, but
so let's give it some context.
Right.
So we're on the group chat, we're all having a bit of a laugh, and then you had a bit of an event at the wedding.
Well, basically, I went to shout out to Aaron. There's no way he's listening to this, but it's the first opportunity I've had. Yeah, well, I had a wedding in Bude. I live in Manchester, so that's a bit of a trek. So I was like, right, I'm going to make the most out of this weekend. I drove down on the Friday. I went to the wave on Friday, which is great. And then across to my parents. I don't know why I'm telling you like the flipping itinerary, but
it's fine.
On the morning of the wedding, I went to Widmouth and it was kind of blown out, but there were still bits and bobs. So I went in under the assumption, because I'd phoned the hotel, that I could check in early, but they were fairly non-committal in fairness to them. Like, I don't want to slag them off. And so I went in the sea. I weed in my wetsuit because that's just what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't.
I don't do it in the wave though, out of politeness and fairness. That goes down on record. That I haven't,
because the water goes purple.
Yeah, like in the fast show. Yeah. Anyway, I went in. and I went in for like an hour and a half, and it was just nice to be in. And then I left, drove up to the hotel. I was like, got to the check-in with like a dripping bag and all that, like sand all over me and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, is it still all right to check in?" And they were like, "We're really sorry, but we haven't been able to turn over the rooms quick enough." I was like, "Oh, for fuck." But the woman, in fairness, was like, "Okay, well, don't worry, because there's a kind of a disabled toilet out the back that you can use." I was like, "You can just, have a dog wash and just splash the armpits." I was like, "Okay, all right, that's fine." Good, yeah. So she like led me out the back, and there was like a function room, and like we walked past who I can only presume is the duty manager, and the lady I was with explained the situation to her, and like she did not look happy, and I was like, "This isn't going to end well, is it?" I feel like she's either not going to let me in or something's going to kick off. So anyway, I went in like stripped down, so I was completely naked, like washing sand off my feet and other areas. And there was a rap on the door. She was like, "Sorry, you've got to get out now." I was like, I knew this would happen. So like, I was like, "Okay, I can't quite come out like just this second, but give me 2 minutes." She was like, "No, we need it now." And it kind of escalated. And I was like, "What do you want from this? Do you want me to like walk around the hotel with my knob out? I don't know what you want from this situation." So I sort of said that, and it kind of went quiet, and I had to basically just get ready really quickly. And I waffled my way through that, but yeah, I won't. It was actually a really nice hotel, and they made up for it with a breakfast and stuff. So, but yeah, so I managed to kind of wash off the smell of wetsuit and.
Well, this is the thing. Now we're on this group chat. This is the thing that we get. Stuff like this has been really entertaining through like doing the program.
No,
this is like
good.
The other part of it, which I've really enjoyed actually.
Yeah.
Well, I was worried that you might just be like a couple of actors from Surrey or something, just two posh blokes from London, playing the role of Leighton.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're actually genuine. You are as you sound, which is good.
Yeah, we're complete idiots.
Well, so how have you found the program, Pete? Because you've gone from nothing to being trained by somebody who trains Olympic athletes.
I'm like the ultimate fighting machine now.
Yeah.
I found it difficult, and I found things I didn't think I'd find easy very easy, and I found things that I thought I'd find
make a
easy,
note of those ones,
very
mate.
difficult. Yeah,
Make a note of those.
yeah.
ones.
There's some of them, and you get some right abuse sent to me afterwards, like static bear holds. They're the most stupid things that I've ever come across in my life. Where you get to the first one I thought was bad. I think it started on like 45 seconds or something like that. And I think we're up to like 2.5 minutes now,
No,
or
we're
something
not.
like that.
What, on the static bear hold?
I'm sure that's what
That
the
is
last
mental.
one was.
Oh, that's a mistake. Sorry, I don't think that's right, mate.
You sure it's not?
Are you talking about like the prone holds and things
I
like that?
don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something.
Right.
I can't remember what it is, but
Oh,
I'm talking
just-
about something. And anyway, whatever it is was up to like 2.5 minutes. And I don't know. I've never moved like that. My body's never convulsed like that before.
But it's been massively beneficial. Isn't it? So we mentioned it on like a previous podcast.
All like joking aside, like paddle fitness is like insanely more than what it was before.
Because we're training specifically for surfing, and everything that Alan's done is all the exercises are around that and strengthening the muscles you need, and like the flexibility side of it has really helped me.
Yeah.
So like it's like I think we said about it in like on the last podcast actually, or maybe the one before. Well, when you're paddling now, you can choose where you want to be in the water, and like we went on a session probably what we're in like the end of the second block or something like that. So that's 2 months in, and we paddled for like 2.5 hours in the session. It was quite a difficult session.
Yeah.
We're like, what's going on? This is like unbelievable. It's like we've bloody taken steroids or something.
Yeah.
It was bloody amazing.
Excuse me. Static bear holds with shoulder taps. 1 minute, rest between, none.
Oh yeah. So
it's
yeah,
3 minutes.
Punctuate.
There's
yeah,
no
but
rest between.
Not
It's
in
3
one
minutes.
go. Punctuated by some rest.
It says none, so I do none. I just carry on the next minute.
Well, let's explain what you're talking about.
making it
So
look bad.
we're on an app, aren't we? Alan uploads the exercises, and we have to do them 3 days a week. And the exercises are slightly different between yours and mine, isn't it? So they're kind of tailored.
Yes.
As we progressed,
Yeah.
your programs have diverged a little bit
Yeah.
based on what I think and you think might be areas that you need to work on.
Yeah.
And with the wider program that we'll talk about, I'm sure, at some point at the end or whatever, I've tried to allow that level of flexibility because, you know, I want to provide something that's of use to, you know, the middle of the bell curve in terms of like most UK based, or, you know, it's an international show now, isn't it?
Oh, apparently
Probably.
so. Yeah, we got listeners in Australia and
what's
America,
going on
and I don't know where they are. They're all hello to you. Hello, hello.
What was I saying? Yeah, so I tried to make it, you know, tried to address what I would consider to be the main limiting factors of your average kind of weekend warrior surfer. Not even that. Most people can't even get in once a month.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's what we found. That's what most of the people are in the UK.
Yeah, but within that, you know, it does touch on everything, even, you know, high performance stuff, really, because ultimately, you know, it's not just about surfing. It makes you a better functioning human.
Yeah, definitely. Like, because I've got a physical job as well. And like I said before, I thought it was just because I get a bit older, but I feel strong again, just in general.
Yeah.
I think I've sent you a few messages, like after, like when we're at the end of a block, and then we do a deload week, and you said that's when you adapt in the deload week. The end of the deload week, I feel fucking amazing. I feel really, really good. And I haven't felt like that for a really long time, for like when I was younger.
And that's also something that's highly individual, you know.
Right.
I had one
for most people, it's roughly 3 on, 1 off. Does seem to work, but for some people, it might be 6 on, 1 off. It does depend, and it also depends on obviously what's in that block, what the focus of that block is.
Well, I had one it was quite near the beginning, and I sent a message saying that I'd done a training session and I felt like I had loads of energy afterwards, and I'd taken the dog for a walk, and I'd gone in like half the time it normally takes to like the route we normally go on. It'd taken me half the time because I felt like I was literally like running it.
Yeah, not every session. You shouldn't feel like you've killed yourself after every session. I know that I've put you through the ringer a bit in the first 2 blocks because that's about adaptation and a bit of skill acquisition, if you like, with the movements. And then you slowly add to that repertoire over time. But actually, as things go on, things get more intense. And by intense, generally, that means heavier. But probably how knackered you feel at the end of those sessions will change because the emphasis will be on like developing force, and therefore quality of effort's really important, and you'll get longer rests. But initially in like an adaptation block or whatever you want to call it, whatever textbook phrase you want to use, you know, it's relatively you build to a fairly high volume if the person you're training is ready for that quite quickly. And it feels quite intense. So that's, I mean, but sometimes you do get like an initial bounce 2 or 3 sessions in.
Yeah, I think that's what I got, because I went from literally, like I said before, no training, because my training was, I go surfing for training, or I skateboard, or I got a physical job, and that was, I thought, enough. But it's
all of those things
changed.
All of those things are good, but they also have aspects to them that you need to mitigate. You know, your job, well, most of us tend to have jobs that are, you know, we're all kind of deconditioned in extension. We're all kind of internally rotated. That's like a symptom of modern day life. And then if you've got a manual job in particular, you know, you actually do really need to focus on stuff that restores the posture that we've evolved to have, which is this fairly extended posture, which then obviously translates into surf. We'll come on to like, you know, the importance of extension in surfing and things. But yeah, when people say I do this for a job, and that's great, because obviously it's kind of your basal metabolic rate, I guess, will be higher. But there will be aspects of your job or your pastime that if left unchecked or unmitigated, could cause issues further down the line.
Yeah, so you're not, just because you're doing a physical job, you might not be strengthening your back or something like that. Or,
Absolutely. That's a really good example. You know, people tend to be strong in what they can see in the mirror. You tend to be quite strong.
Yeah.
But you're typically not very strong, you know, with muscles that you can't see.
I always look at my ass in the mirror.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, if you do that, then fine.
So you've sent through some talking points to us. So it'd be really good if we could do it for our listeners, because you really want to give them information. So one of the points you talked through was about paddling and taking off, and riding the wave.
Yeah.
And like the physiological qualities that underpin those actions.
Yeah, okay. It is important for people to realise that when they train, there's a lot of stuff going on biologically, physiologically, as a result of that training. It's not like you do something and you get better at it and it's kind of just conceptual. You train to provide a stimulus. Your body then has to adapt, and that involves some proper hard wiring, like rewiring, recompositioning of your body. So like, I guess if we'll do paddling and catching a wave.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, depending on what study you read, and a lot of these studies are geared towards competitive surfers, but there is some recreational surfing studies in there and free surfing and things like that. But you can spend anywhere between 40% roughly and 55% of your time in the water paddling. That's a lot. And I would say for most of us, like in average surfers, surfing UK beach breaks, it's probably towards the top end of that.
Yeah.
I was going to say mine's probably more towards 80%.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like a lot more than fucking 55%, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So paddling ultimately is the gateway to being able to surf. If you can't paddle well, then you'll never get out back. This is why I wanted to talk about that guy from the wave quickly, because I've been thinking about it.
That's a good time to drop him in, yeah.
Right, shout out to the bloke who spends $2,000 a month at the wave.
Yeah.
What an absolute
That's
legend.
insane.
It is mental, isn't it? I was thinking, like, he's remortgaged his house, but he's living the dream. And like,
explain how you found out about him.
Yeah, I went to the wave. They've absolutely nailed it. I think it's great, but obviously there's a lot of cash there because it's pretty expensive, but it's good. But so anyway, I bumped into this bloke, this really good longboarder, and I was just talking to him about. I'd been admiring his longboarding from afar. You can do that, can't you? Like in surfing, without it being weird.
No,
it's still weird.
It is weird. And he said that he did the same thing to this bloke that he'd been on an advanced plus wave with. Spoke to this guy, and he was like, "How long have you been surfing?" And this guy was like, 3 months. He was like, "What? How is that possible?" Because he was like.
On advanced plus for a start.
Yeah, performing all sorts of ridiculous manoeuvres. He was like, I work for myself and I just work in the cafe every day and I go surfing twice a day. Like, that's $2,000 a month.
Bloody hell.
Absolute hero. He's living the dream. But the guy I was speaking to asked him, so what's it like when you go in the sea? And he was like, I've never been in the sea. And that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
so the paddle fitness. Then
well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
He's going to be. He's like unbelievable at manoeuvres, but when the winter comes, winter is coming and all that.
Ian doesn't get that reference.
Oh, everyone knows that reference. Surely, I didn't say it in, like dramatically enough, but he won't be able to paddle out past it. Imagine that, like being that good at surfing, but he probably can't duck dive.
No.
Or
he's not going to be able to read the sea in any way.
So he'll be like, yeah, I'm going to go shred today. And it'll be like on those little breakers that you get sort of, inshore.
Yeah.
Absolutely blows my mind. You should get him on. The guy's like an enigma. He's like Bruce Wayne.
He's like Rick.
Get him on.
He's like
you
Rick
need to
Kane.
find him. If you listen to this and you're the guy that spends $2,000 a month.
Yeah. Send a message.
Send a message and come on the show because that's insane.
What does he do? I
don't know, but I want his job if he can afford to spend $2,000 a month at the wave.
Investment banker, something like that, I bet.
Yeah,
or
speculating.
He's sort of remortgaged his house and not told his wife.
Yeah.
He's going
into the office every day and he just goes to the wave.
Massive digression. What were we talking about?
About the paddling.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we probably spend about 55%, I would say, of the time paddling at different intensities, but paddling nonetheless. And as a strength and conditioning coach or someone in sports science, whatever you are, biomechanist or whatever, you'll have a thought in your head. That's your own thought and that's prone to bias. And then you try and back it up with literature, but sometimes there's no literature there. You just have to go off what you see. This is one of them. So if I look at a surfer, to me, the example of a good surfer is someone, we've all seen them, that can hold that extended position on the board with their head basically up and looking forward. That is a really, really important because it allows you to utilize your shoulder joint properly. You're supposed to be able to circumduct at your shoulder. You're supposed to be able to bring your arm back high over your shoulder. That's really important for an efficient catch when you paddle, because otherwise, if you don't have that requisite strength, and we'll go on to the kind of strength it is, but if you don't have that, then and we've all seen these people as well, and might well have been these people, but kind of nose on the board, flapping their arms up and down. Mm-hmm. So you'll fatigue very quickly, and your catch will be rubbish.
Right. So if you can hold the water prone, really shallow. If you can hold that prone position, your paddling will just
massively improve. Just that. So
that said, you said that to me when we went surfing, didn't you?
When we went, and after we've been doing it for a couple of months, and you were holding the prone position, which we've done in the past, but you kind of struggle doing it because you fatigue quite quickly, like both of us do.
Yeah.
But I looked over and you were doing it effortlessly.
Yeah.
And it just looked natural, and that's the difference, isn't it? Like if you can see someone do it naturally, and it looks like they're spending no energy in doing it.
And it's something that needs to be trained. Like I mentioned, as modern day humans, we're all pretty deconditioned in extension. It's something we need to train. You need to be able to, you need postural endurance, we'll call it. So your glutes, your abs and your lower back, your spinal erectors need to contract, isometric. They just basically need to hold a position. Stabilize your lower back so that you can extend through your thoracic spine, your mid and upper back, basically into that position. And that just requires time and position. You can do obviously gross extension movements like deadlifts and squats help, but really you need to spend time in position, and you need to basically spend 2-3 minutes lying on the floor in that position, extended, not hyperextended, especially not through your lower back. You just stabilize your lower back, and then allow yourself to peel your chest off the floor and get used to being in that position. It's as simple as that. And you can do that like 3 or 4 times a week, a couple of minutes a day, and that would immediately improve your surfing.
That is, they always, in our program that we've been doing, they seem to be at the end of the program. They ramp up in every block. So like they go from like 2 minutes 15, 2 minutes 30, 2 minutes 45, or whatever. And the prone positions, like you said, like that kind of arch. But you've incorporated in the arms in some of them. You do like a T prone, which is our arms out to the side.
Yeah.
And honestly, like you get to, like you set it on your watch 2.5 minutes, and you get to like 1 minute 45, and I'm shaking like I'm having a fit.
Yeah.
But when you make it, and like I think that's been one of the biggest benefits for reducing the pain.
I don't know. I haven't made it yet.
Yeah, you have.
You have. I've looked at the
notes. Yeah. No, I'm joking. Yeah, it's like to start off with, I was like, I can't remember what we started on, like 1 minute 30 or something like that.
I think I started at 2 minutes.
Was it 2 minutes? And because I think I made it to like 1 minute 30 or 1 minute 20 on the first time.
That's okay, because failure in that scenario, provided, like I say, that you're not. I don't want you to hyperextend through your lower back, because you shouldn't do that. As you know, you just mangled your back on that crazy ass thing that you left in my bedroom.
Yeah, well, I don't know what that is. So. I don't know what you're on about there. So my wife bought me this thing ages ago because I had a bad back.
Yeah.
And I've said before on a podcast, I went to a chiropractor some years back, and he said I've got 3 or 4 fractures in my spine where or lines where I'd fractured my back before in different areas.
Yeah.
So I've always got a little bit of a stiff back and stuff like that. And she bought me this thing which you put on the floor, and you can adjust it, and you're supposed to like lie over it, and it helps your upper back. and it helped my upper back, and my lower back was a bit sore. So I thought, maybe it will help my lower back as well. So I put it on my lower back and leant back across it, and then couldn't walk properly for about 2 weeks.
I mean,
Yeah.
that
is that hyperextension.
It does look really good. Like you can hyperextend through your thoracic spine. Your lower back, not so much.
Right.
You want to basically. It's already extended to some extent because we have, as a rule, we have an anterior tilt of our hips. So your lower back's already extended. That's okay. But yeah, as a rule, you want to stabilise your lower back. But yeah, I can just imagine you like trying other bits out. Like, I wonder if I can bend my knee backwards on it.
I've got a headache. I'll lie on it.
I haven't got the bed of nails out yet. I've actually got a bed of nails sitting upstairs, and you've had a go on that, haven't you?
But I've got one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really good thing.
Why have you both got one?
Because
you had to go on, you had to go on ours, didn't you? And then you were like, I'll go and get one.
The science behind it is you lay on them and it will increase the blood flow to your back because it's fucking painful.
Oh yeah,
I must admit, I've used it a few times. I haven't noticed it do anything
other than just
except for leave loads of dents in your back.
I got a thing. I think my wife might try to be killing me off. Because like she keeps buying these things.
I got you a guillotine.
I got you this. What's that do? Oh, that hyperextend your back. What's this do? Oh, you lie on it and it sticks loads of holes in you.
I know
brilliant.
I know this is a bit of a diversion, but can you tell the story that you told Alan and I why we were having some food just then?
Which one?
About the food that your wife cooked you.
Oh yeah.
With the oil,
with the sauce. So we just had a curry, and we were talking about like chili sauce and stuff like that. And I went through a phase a few years back of eating like really hot chilies and going hotter and hotter till I worked up to the Carolina Reapers, and I made some Carolina Reaper chili oil. She didn't know which one it was, and she made I can't remember what it was, like something like a shepherd's pie or something like that. I can't remember, some pie thing she'd made. And she'd used that chili in it, but she didn't realise that was the hot chili. And everyone put it in their mouth and just spat it on the plate at the same time. I was like, what the hell is that?
That is horrible.
So yeah, she's definitely trying to kill you off.
Yeah.
That wasn't a mistake.
No.
Yeah.
So we were talking
prone
about
holds.
The prone. So so for people listening, then the prone hold. And they can look at that online, can't they? What a prone hold is.
Yeah, there'll be all sorts of variations on YouTube. But basically, you lie on the floor. You could lie off a bench at a gym if someone sat on your legs, or you might have, if you go to like a CrossFit gym, you might have like a glute ham raise thing, so you can lie off that. But ultimately, you'll stabilise your lower back, so squeeze your glutes, abs, spinal erectors, so basically the muscles on your lower back, and then extend. Peel your chest away from the floor. Keep your head neutral. Don't kind of look up and arch. Just keep your head neutral. Imagine you're in a neck brace.
Yeah.
Hold that for like 3 minutes.
Yeah. A couple of times a week.
And then you can change it. The reason why I've put, having you hold your arms out in a Y is there's a few reasons. Obviously, it increases the leverage. So you're having to create more tension and torque in those muscles. But also to bring in local muscular endurance of your upper back, which we'll come on to, because that is another important factor. Yeah. So just spend a lot of time in lying down. If you do nothing else, start doing that. And you'll notice a difference. You will notice a difference because your catch phase, you'll probably enter the water further out and higher because you'll be able to utilise your shoulder joint. As long as you've got requisite mobility in your shoulder joint, which again
then means that you can paddle faster, and then that means you can catch more
paddling
waves.
more efficiently, at least. Paddling faster, that involves, we'll come on to that as well, pull-up strength, really.
Yeah. They've been hammering me on pull-ups, that's for sure.
And then obviously you also need to be mobile. So there's two components. You need, in this kind of extended position, you need the requisite mobility to extend through your thoracic spine. Like I say, a lot of us are kind of jammed up in that position. We're not used to extending through our back, our kind of mid and upper back. So lots of mobility work, kind of drop it into your day. No one likes doing it for the most part, but if you can just find a way to either work it into your sessions, which is quite easy during recovery periods, or drop it into your day, get yourself a roller, drape yourself over the roller, basically. Obviously, making sure you don't hyperextend through your lower back, Pete. But and you know, Spider-Mans with rotations, all these like classic mid-back kind of mobilization. You can kind of lie on your shoulder, facing the floor. You like that one, don't you?
Yeah. Is that the T-spine rotation?
Yeah.
What's the one? The world's greatest stretch one.
That's a good one.
I like that, but I've had to up the ante.
It's
on
a
that
catch.
One, so I can get my elbow right down flat.
Yeah. Have you got your knee on the floor? Is that why?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, it sounds
it's just really impressive. You're like annoyingly mobile. But yeah, basically, the world's greatest stretch. It's really good because it ticks a lot of boxes. It ticks thoracic rotation because you're rotating through your mid-back. It ticks hip flexion, extension, external rotation. It's just it's a great exercise.
It is the world's greatest stretch.
Yeah, if you've got no time to do any other like mobility, that would be the one.
Yeah, so people can look at the prone holds to help strengthen their back and their in that position, and they can also look at the stretch, the world's greatest stretch. So those two are really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of these will be in the surfing mobility manual, mate, so
yes.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just go there.
Yeah.
I've not made it yet, but by the time this goes live, I probably would have made it.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, you can find loads on YouTube anyway, and most of them are decent. So the ones that rank really highly are normally good quality.
Right.
Generally, I think. Yeah, and then there's the whole bashing your way through breaking waves, you know, and that in the summer might take 2 minutes. In the winter, it feels like it can take fucking half an hour, or more.
We've had days when it has taken that long.
Or even longer. Sometimes it feels so. You know, there's a lot going on there as well. I think there's probably two main components you need to talk about there, and you need local muscular endurance, I'll call it, or strength endurance of the muscles in your upper back, the back of your shoulders, and your lats as well, really. And that is, like I mentioned about physiological underpinnings, the muscles on your upper back are there really. They're postural muscles. They're not supposed to have a high work capacity. They're not supposed to like be able to generate. They're not supposed to weight lift, because you are, as you recover an arm that's covered in 5 mil of neoprene wet. Yeah, it's basically a bodybuilding exercise, isn't it? Over and over again. So it's a strength endurance, and like that's really important. You need to basically recomposition the muscles on your back to enable you to, you're putting in all sorts of infrastructure. You're putting in tiny blood vessels. You're adding more kind of energy production warehouses, facilities, and like mitochondria, loads of capillaries. That's why when you said about your traps being massive, I was actually a little bit worried, because I was like, have I turned him into a gym bro? But what's actually happened is you've got more thickness on your back. You've basically...
He's got more thickness in his head.
I was thinking when they said about you being in... They noticed your traps in Saunton and were like, is that Leighton or is that Lundy Island? I can't...
since we've been doing these workouts, that is the kind of muscle I've noticed grow the most.
People do notice, because like I say, I think predominantly because they don't ever... When do you ever train your upper back? And also... They are, like I say, they're postural muscles largely. And when you start requiring them to perform in a different way, you need to recomposition them. So that's why you've got like seals and migratory birds lying on them when you're in the sea.
So it's true. They do, like he said about it, and I was just like, he says a lot of things, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever you're talking about, just ignoring him. But he said about his traps, and like he showed me a picture of them, and I was like, Jesus Christ, they look ridiculous now.
My missus was like looking at them, and was just like, they are getting quite big, aren't they? I was like, what's he turning me into?
You look athletic, mate. They've pulled your shoulders back and you've got thickness on your back. I was worried when you told me that it was all like upper trap, like, when you see like a gym bro that's
got no back.
Yeah, but it's not. So that's really good.
I was saying something to you earlier that is often when I paddle out, I get this thing where I start paddling out, and me and Leighton will start paddling out together, and then he'll go a bit in front of me, and I feel like I get really tired.
The traps, man.
And then all of a sudden, I like get my energy back, and I can go and then start paddling normally.
Right, yeah, I would say what you're experiencing is what a good warm-up should look like. So you should try and, you're never going to gradually, sort of this nirvana of like building into all of a sudden being able to give it full beans without any kind of... So like a good warm-up, really, you should try and replicate at points in your warm-up the intensity or the feeling at least that you'll get in your upper back. And you can try and do that on land with some like YWTs or, bottle hops or some, you could do that.
Fucking bottle hops.
Yeah, we'll come on to them, but like, or you could just,
bottle hops.
Or like, as you start paddling out, you can put a few sprint efforts in if you want to, or you can just go in cold and adapt basically what you've been doing. And you'll slowly, you'll use the first few 50 meters to kind of get into it. But I guess a lot of it is you have the capacity to do more work, and it's about being comfortable being uncomfortable. You're gonna feel a burn, but you know that you're all right. Like cyclists, look at the faces they pull when they're climbing up Von2 or something, or find the bell lap in some kind of track race. Look at their faces; they're like in absolute agony, but they know.
Poo face.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They know that they're comfortable being in that state, and they know that they have the capacity to perform. So, because a lot of that's just kind of sucking it up. I think
a lot of people, ourselves included, see surfing as such a mellow sport.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it in the winter, though, does it?
No. But like, I think feel like such a mellow sport. It doesn't go with that sort of, that face like that. But that's what you've got to do to get to a level where you're comfortable. If you're living down in Saunton, in Cornwall, in somewhere in Scotland or whatever, somewhere where you've got to surf a lot and you're paddling out all the time, you'll get that. You'll get that build up anyway.
Absolutely.
If you're like we found through doing this podcast, say 70 to 90% of surfers out there are landlocked surfers, or they don't live close enough to be able to go all the time surfing.
So this is really important for them.
You will decondition very quickly, because if you adapt, if you do loads of bottle hops, and we'll come on to that, but like stuff that will change recomposition and kind of repurpose the muscles on your upper back to do a different job, and then you stop doing that job, your body will, as a rule, revert to baseline, because it will be like, what's all that stuff on my back? Like, I don't. Yeah, I'm only holding a posture. It will go back to like
sloth.
No, it'll go back to like a muscle type that's more suited to that role.
How quickly could that happen? So say we were doing your program, and then we completely stopped.
Yeah.
How long do you think it would take? I know it might differ for people.
In all honesty, I don't know, but to me, it feels like if you're out of the water, if all your training is just surfing, which immediately that's a red flag, isn't it? But and you don't go for like 2 weeks, you feel it, don't you? I feel like it's a very specific type of fitness. I feel like you're repurposing your back to do something that, from an evolutionary perspective, an anthropological perspective, it's not supposed to do.
Right.
That's not a bad thing at all. Like, it will improve your posture and stuff, but ultimately your muscles on your back are there to keep you upright and no more, really.
Right.
So it will probably just decondition.
Could just be as short as 2 weeks.
Maybe, I don't know. The answer to that is, I'm not going to like bullshit my way through that and give you some kind of half-assed.
Some scary I don't know. Response.
I don't know, but it will. If you didn't do anything, you'd go back to what you were before you started training. That much is
it doesn't
clear.
Stay with you then.
So local muscular endurance of your upper back and lats, and that's easy to do. It's hard to do in terms of when you're doing it, but you basically just need to spend a lot of time in position, moving your arm, bottle hops we've been doing, haven't we? So you hold that prone position and move your arms back and forth over the bottles. That's a good one.
That's hard.
That works really horrible.
It works the back of your shoulders, it works your upper back. Failure is, you can do anything like that. You can do reverse flies if you want to, like a proper old school bodybuilding. You can maybe wave them in circles. You can do anything, but the criteria would be to keep the loading down, so you don't even need bloody weight. You can just use the leverage of your arms, but very lightweight for a long time, or either max out in terms of reps. Failure is a good thing in this case, because that's how you'll generate a ton of metabolic stress. That's good for hypertrophy, basically. So anything high reps is good, as many reps as possible. Do as many reps as possible in a certain time. Keep doing reps till you can't do reps anymore. Like, basically hammer that part of your upper back, because it's relatively safe to do so.
Right.
I don't know many people that should go easy on strengthening their external rotators and muscles that are involved in kind of retracting your shoulder blades. It is a good thing posturally anyway. So, and we'll come on to like how to make yourself more robust, because that is important. Did you say you?
No, I was just going to say I'm going to call this episode "Training with Big Words."
Oh yeah, big word. I don't want to be like that. I'm going to try not to be like that, because I find that annoying when people.
No,
that. But
no, it's all right. As I think 95% of them I've understood so far.
Okay.
It's just every time you say thoracic spine, I think of Jurassic Park.
Basically, like you're
Jurassic Park.
You're middling upper back. Basically, the last thing on bashing through waves. You put all that infrastructure in. That's you know what that is. That's
infrastructure.
Yeah. So like. And then you have to look at the energy systems as well that support that. So like you need a well-developed aerobic system, because ultimately that is the predominant energy system that you'll use when you're paddling out, but when you're surfing in general, and it will help you recover between bouts of high, moderate, should we call it, that might feel like high intensity, but it's technically moderate if you like, but paddling through, 3-4 waves, duck diving, whatever, that's fairly moderate, sustained output, and that's more glycolytic. That's more kind of the glycolytic system's there to produce energy quicker than what the aerobic system can, and therefore it allows you to sustain higher output. It doesn't last very long, like technically, I don't know, about 10 to 45 seconds ish. So you've got to train those two systems. Aerobic system, you could just move around more and go for walks at lunch and morning and stuff. That's low level, steady state. Or you could do like a 6 to 8 minute time trial on a rower, just as hard as you can sustain for an even pace for that time. That's a really, lot of bang for your buck in terms of aerobic capacity.
See, we had this before with swimming, because when I go swimming, I can just swim and swim and swim, and I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it really
No.
I do get tired, obviously, but I don't get as tired. Yeah, I can just keep going.
There's a technical component there, obviously, because you're a good swimmer. But yeah, you'll probably be predominantly taxing your aerobic system, and you've probably got a fairly well-developed aerobic system because you're on your feet all the time. So at a low level, you've got a decent aerobic system, probably better than most. So, but then if you were to like do a few like all-out, 25-meter sprints, that would be taxing more so. It's not like you switch one off and the other one comes on. It's more like a sliding scale, but that'll be taxing your glycolytic system predominantly, I guess, for, if it's all out for that 10 to 40 second period. Yeah. You need to train that you need to train it. So I
find that with this training program as well. Like, it's like some things it'll be like something hard, and then there's a couple of things that feel slightly easier, and so it does that like
I've tried
up and down as well.
I've tried to do that when you're in the gym as well. It's not like your body isn't like, oh, this is weight training. This isn't, I'm not gonna. Your body will adapt to the stimulus of a lot of what you do when you're lifting heavy. That's kind of more super fast energy system, your phosphagen system, and glycolytic. When you're actually in the middle of the set, that's still you're getting a glycolytic. There's a stimulus there, but you want to be like a 20 to 30 second all-out effort, recover, go again, 6 to 8 times. That's a really good glycolytic workout. If you want to focus on like, I want to generate as much power as I can in that time, then it becomes more about quality, and therefore you kind of give yourself more rest. But if you're trying, and as you get fitter, if you want to try and simulate in some way, it's hard to completely simulate, but paddling out, narrow those rest intervals a little bit so that you're getting less recovery and you're accumulating fatigue. And so you're doing like 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off, let's say. That sounds relatively all right, doesn't it? But by the 6th, 8th rep,
I've noticed that. So when we've come to the end of some of the workouts on day, you've put in a section called paddle endurance.
Yeah.
Where we do...
Repeat it 5 times.
Yeah, repeat it 5. Yeah. Well, it ramps up, doesn't it? So it's 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. And so one of them is the lat pull downs, isn't it? Which is
like a straight arm pull down.
Yeah. And it was, I think it's like 25 of them or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we go into like a prone hold after that, and for a minute, like the moving prone hold. And then those, I get to the third time. Like you do it first of all, and you think, I feel like I should put more tension on the band. Like I should have more weight on it.
You get to the fourth one and you're like, I feel like I should lose the band altogether.
You can't do it. It's bloody amazing.
That's a good one because it mixes, when you're doing those pull downs, that's probably fairly glycolytic, and then you go into the prone holds and you're probably kind of edging back into aerobic, because you will be anyway because of the duration. So you're kind of weaving your way in and out of different energy systems all the time. So that stuff like that's good. They're both as important as each other and they interact a lot. So if you want to be faster paddling, you need to have a strong glycolytic system. So you need to train it. You need to do those 20-second horrible intervals. And
I hate that. My favourite bit of them is the box breathing at the end.
The what, sorry? The box breathing,
at the end, yeah.
So you recover.
Yeah.
There's been lots of videos on the group chat of people being really sweaty and saying, Alan, are you trying to kill me? And stuff like that, which has been quite entertaining. Yeah. So that covers like the paddling out then, really? Yeah. So when we're... would you class that as the paddling for a wave as well, or is there anything?
No, I think that's it. There are a few more things on paddling out, but we could be here for like 10 hours talking about this. This is the problem. Catching a wave, there's a few components there. Initially, you need peak speed in paddling. You need to be able to have paddling endurance, but you need to have peak speed, and that is really closely correlated to your max vertical pulling strength. So basically pull-ups.
Right.
I think unless you have some reason why you can't do pull-ups in terms of like from a injury perspective, injury history, if you've had some kind of shoulder surgery and it's just not doable, everyone should be trying to aim to do pull-ups. Build up to do, and most people can't do them. They're hard. They're really hard. So like build up to a place where you can do 5 strict bodyweight pull-ups, and you'll notice, well, even during that progression, you'll notice your speed go up, because the correlation, I think, if I remember rightly, it's probably like between 0.96 and 0.99 R value, which basically means the correlation's so close that if you're strong at pull-ups, you will be fast.
Oh, it's using the exact same muscles.
Someone's done a regression analysis and been like, what dictates paddling speed, and they would have gone through all sorts of different variables. But obviously, again, like they would have had in the back of their head when they did that study, I think pull-ups will make you a better paddler, because it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But they've gone away and ratified that, and I think max pull-up strength, it improves your 5, 10, 15 metre paddle, but also, interestingly, your 400 metre paddle. So that's obviously endurance.
Yeah.
But that makes absolute sense, because if you're stronger, you don't burn through your motor units, you don't burn through your muscle fibres as quickly.
Yeah.
So your efficiency goes up as well as your speed.
Yeah. What's the difference then between doing pull-ups and doing press-ups? What's the difference because you're essentially still lifting your own body weight?
It's a totally different movement pattern, a pull-up and a press-up.
No. There's a different movement pattern.
Yeah.
But so like asking this question for someone out there that's like, well, I can't do pull-ups, I'm going to do press-ups.
Right, yeah.
So,
okay. Well, firstly, you can do pull-ups, but you just need to know how to progress it. You need to know, how can I regress from somebody doing pull-ups to where I am now, and then work your way through it. It's a process. Everyone can do pull-ups. They just need to work through it, and there are multiple ways in which you can do that. Loads of people have different methods. I really like starting with eccentric, so you're literally just focusing on the lowering part of the movement. Eccentrics are amazing for multiple reasons. They lengthen your muscles. It's basically stretching. They lengthen your muscles. They help with rate of force production, because they basically kind of realign your muscle fibers so they're in series, so you can contract really quickly. There's so many benefits to eccentric training, but the first one is most people can step on a box put their hands on a bar, and then lower themselves slowly towards the floor. And then you can progress from there in terms of you can start holding positions, you can improve, you can increase, you can start adding weight to the eccentric, doing an overload type thing, and then move into isometrics where you're holding different positions, because that also has a strength stimulus. And holding the bottom of a pull-up, that will make you stronger kind of 40 degrees roughly either side of that point. So it's not like if you just hold that bottom position of a pull-up, you're only going to be strong in that position. We know that actually I'll be strong basically through the bottom half of that pull-up. So, sorry, I've waffled on through that, but basically there are ways and means of progressing to doing pull-ups. Start with eccentrics and then start holding positions. You can change your grip so you've got a supine grip and you use more of your biceps, and then progress to neutral, and then progress to a prone, sort of palms facing away from you. You can start introducing bands. I wouldn't do bands straight away. I would do pull-ups and get used to your own body weight. And then in the last phase, you can start adding bands to give you a bit of a boost, because obviously at the bottom, there's more tension. It gives you a boost. And then towards the top where you are stronger, because mechanically you're stronger at the top, then it's basically all you. So it just gives you a leg up.
Yeah.
But aim to get to 5 pull-ups, and everyone can do them. It's just you have to go through a process to do it. Same with push-ups.
Yeah, so we've had that exact thing in our program, haven't we? Like holding the positions. I think.
And you can do pull-ups, but it doesn't mean that eccentrics won't benefit you, because they will, and they'll make you stronger, and they have.
Yeah, because they're holding the positions as well.
Yeah.
I feel strong throughout the entire pull-up. You know, it's not like I'm just blasting up as fast as I can. I feel like I can do it controlled. Yeah. After the block that we had, where I think we had to hold it at the top of the pull-up, the middle of the pull-up, and then at the bottom of the pull-up. Yeah. It's like 30 seconds each time.
I've had the complete opposite, where I've had real trouble because I've got a pull-up bar in a doorway. I'll show you it. So you can see why I'm having difficulty with it. I think I've got to get one of those things that go. I think I've got to get one of those things that go round the door, so I can switch it to a different door.
I've sent you a link for that.
Yeah, well, I haven't bought it yet, have I? I was busy buying drones or something.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm the technical one. I'm not supposed. He's the one that does the workout. I do the technical.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier about. Just because you're holding the bottom of a pull-up doesn't mean it won't impact your entire pull-up. So you don't just get... We used to think, as if I'm like part of the scientific community, but people used to think that actually you only get strong... In isometrics, where you're holding a position, you only get stronger at that point, but that's not right. True. Yeah. There's a kind of a 40-degree leeway. Yeah. So... By doing it at different stages, we've kind of covered the whole range of motion, is the idea. Yeah. So it does work.
You know, you see those guys on like YouTube and they do that thing where they're like doing pull-ups and it looks like they're walking upstairs in thin air.
Oh, have you seen them? It's like crazy, like calisthenics type stuff. Yeah.
So they must be ultimate.
Yeah, they're pretty strong. Yeah, they're pretty strong.
That was just a thought that popped into
it. Sometimes I just say my thoughts.
Right. So we're paddling for the wave. And
that's what we're talking about.
And so you think, so pull-ups are a good exercise for the
if
speed.
You can't, so I should say, if you can't do pull-ups, because some people can't because of some kind of shoulder injury or something.
What would be a better alternative?
Horizontal rows are good, so like chest-supported rows, bent-over rows. Yeah, it's still a pull. It will still help you paddle. Yeah. The difference is the range of motion is less. You have to produce less torque at your shoulder. So the stimulus isn't quite the same. The direction of force application isn't quite the same, but there will still be a stimulus there. It's, and you guys have got horizontal rowing in there as an accessory. Yeah. So if you can't do pull-ups, do some form of pull and progress that to a point where you're pulling. You're doing low reps, high weight, basically, because we're trying to improve strength. We're trying to improve force production.
Yeah, to be able to paddle quickly.
Yeah. And it's just like in cycling, you're kind of... well, actually, can I say this? Well, yeah, I can. It's in just literature. So, but yeah, your max squat is really, really closely...
Is that because there's British Olympic cycling secrets?
Oh, mate, yeah, absolutely, yeah. They've got like...
That's amazing.
That is so cool.
There's some areas of like that I can't get into in the building, and I keep trying to... like nose in and stuff in the R&I, like the research and innovation department.
Yeah.
It used to be called like the Secret Squirrel Club. I've never been in there, and it's kind of blacked out, and it's got some cool stuff in
You
there.
imagine like Ivan Drago behind there, like
Yeah. Well, hopefully not without the juicing bit.
Yeah.
But
it's got one of those chambers that Captain America goes in.
Yeah. Again, without the juice. But no. So your max squat is really closely correlated to your peak speed. So peak speed, not acceleration, which we'll come on to with the push-ups, because there's a bit of a difference in terms of what you actually need for your pop-up as opposed to your sprint paddle. Sprint paddle is more about force generation and strength. Mm-hmm. Your pop-up is more about the rate at which you can apply that force.
Yeah.
So you do need a base level of strength, and the stronger you are, the higher the potential you have to generate that force, express that force quickly, but you still have to train it.
Right.
So like you need a baseline level of strength. You probably need to be able to do like 8 to 10 strict push-ups as and again, a lot of people can't do that. And again, I would suggest you start with eccentrics, lowering yourself down, slowly bringing your chest to the floor, and then we can move on to isometrics, and then move on to bands. Try not to do it off your knees, because it's not because I'm not bothered, but do what you want, but like about it altering the mechanics. It's more just that when you move to your feet, you're going to find it fucking hard.
Yeah.
So start from your feet.
Yeah.
And then you can do eccentrics. You can do it off, raised platforms, things like that. There's loads of things you can do to progress your push-ups.
Yeah.
But the key thing is with the pop-up is more about a rate of force development. So not how much force you generate, but how quickly you express that force.
Right.
Is there an optimum level in a push-up? I know like some manoeuvres you hear people saying it's not worth going like the complete circumference, where it's worth just staying more in the middle bit, or is there different things?
I think that might be a sit-up.
That's what I mean. I've heard that of sit-ups, but is that similar to a push-up? Is it better to do a push-up from arm straight, flat to the floor, arm straight, flat to the floor?
It depends. If there's some reason that you're working, you might be like struggling with lockout on a bench press, and you want to do a set, or you might be doing partial reps because you can maintain tension, if you're doing partial reps at the bottom, your muscles are more stretched. Basically, it becomes harder to generate tension. It's just harder if you're deeper in a position. But anyway, that's speculating. But yeah, you want to be focusing on generating force quickly. And with a push-up, I like the push-up because obviously it's fairly relevant to surfing. We'll come into like doing stuff that looks like surfing and all that sort of bullshit, but it's a relevant exercise. I like it because it allows your shoulder blades to move around freely if you do it properly. So at the bottom, your shoulder blades are supposed to glide around your rib cage. It's called scapulohumeral glide or rhythm. And what you do when you do a bench
Big
press,
words.
Yeah, basically just like your shoulder blades are supposed to like sort of glide around and move with your arms. And what happens if you do loads of bench press? If you're like a gym bro or gym sis, is that a term?
Gym sis.
Being equal.
It is now.
Yeah.
A gym person.
Then you lock your shoulder blades in position to provide a base from which to push. But really, you want your shoulder blades. It's okay to do bench press, by the way, but make sure you're also doing stuff that allows your shoulder blades to move around. So like push-ups are good for that anyway. But you also want to be working on rate of force development. So if you can't do a push-up, you probably can't do a ballistic push-up, which is like pushing yourself off the floor, accelerating yourself away. A ballistic is basically just accelerating yourself, an object, or a combination of the two through a space. So like you could do, if you can't do a ballistic push-up, you could push up, throw yourself off the wall standing and work your way down, or you can get a med ball and chuck it as far as you can, as quickly as you can. Keep the med ball light. It's about speed, not strength. When you wanted to get a heavy med ball.
Shall we look at Leighton for this one?
So basically what happened is I noticed in in the program that it was med ball slams, and it said 2 kilos on it.
Yeah.
And the workout demons in my head were like, ask Alan for
I knew they would.
Yeah, ask Alan for 4
yeah,
kilos.
but what he didn't tell you is when you said yes to 4, is that he thought, well, he said yes to 4, maybe I could buy a 5 or a 6.
No,
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. So when you said,
to be honest, 4's probably a bit heavy, but you're a big lad, so you'll be moving it. It's fine. I'll let it go, mate.
I love it. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But when you said, 4's fine, that's exactly what happened. I went on Amazon to buy a Medball 4, and my workout team was like, go for the 6.
Yeah.
Go for the 6. It's going to be better.
So yeah,
But I didn't.
And
I went
and
for the 4.
what happened the other day when you had the exercise with the the 4 kilo medicine ball that you said to me afterwards?
Well, we went. So the block that we're on now, the finisher part of it, the bit that really exhausts you, is Medball slams. And you just said go ape, and it's Medball slams for 6 minutes. Jesus, that thing feels more like 40.
I should
kilos.
point out that it's not 6 minutes straight of Medball slams. That'd be mental.
Yeah,
it's like
10 seconds. 10 reps.
10 reps and
40
then
seconds.
Yeah.
And then on this, linking all this note in together. So something you said at the very beginning was, if you're going surfing that day, don't do a training session.
Yes, as a rule.
So
we can. Yeah.
Well, that.
What
it depends, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but what happened to you on the surf session after you did a training session in the morning?
I nearly drowned.
Yeah,
because I cramped up in the water.
Yeah, in places that I've never heard you get cramping before. Like, first of all, the cramp in the leg, that's just funny because everyone gets that.
I get that.
And you get that jump out of bed in the night. No.
But the cramp I had, I've never had cramp that intense before, and it was so powerful that my foot was totally like flat to like the same, like where there's my shin, and then the top of my foot was the same.
Just like
level.
one extended leg.
And I'm like, if I didn't have my surfboard, there's no way I could have swam or anything.
Oh, man.
And you're going, just stand on the floor. I'm like, we're in the fucking sea, you prick. I can't stand on the floor.
And then he got out and he got cramp in his abs. I've never heard of anyone getting cramp in their abs before.
I've had it, and the reason why when you said I can't believe you know how many times you've had ab cramp. So I've had it 5 times in my life. That was the 5th time. I've had it twice. So I do in Alan's workouts. Okay, and the reason why I remember them is because it sucks all the air out of your lungs and you can't breathe. Yeah, because you just like go in, and we were like getting dry, and you're on one side of the van, I'm on the other, and I couldn't even like tell him. I'm like. It's just gone. Like,
I wouldn't have bothered anyway, to be honest.
But they don't last for as long as the leg cramp, thank God.
And then you made a note of it on the chalkboard.
Yeah,
I've had another one.
Yeah, number 5. But that's it. Do not, like you said, work out, especially to like how intense we're working out, and then work all day, then drive down to Saunton for 2 hours because of the traffic, and then go surfing for an hour and a half because you'll get
I mean,
screwed.
if you for 99% of people, that is good advice. If you're going surfing that day, that is like the thing that's the most important for you to perform in. You can knock off the training on the head. If you're like training to like, I don't know, go on a holiday where you're going to do multiple sessions, it might benefit you to do that because you're training to, be able to cope with high frequency of sessions. But most people, weekend warriors, that session is everything, so you want to be able to perform in that session. You can't carry much fatigue into it.
That's the thing that I've found the difference is where we've gone before and we'll go surfing and we've had an alright surf or a good surf or whatever. I've found since doing this, I've had the fitness to do it and enjoy it. So for example, if you're someone that only goes surfing, like you just said, weekend warrior, made me think of it. Like if you're someone that can only go surfing on a weekend, for example, or you live further away so you can't go down after work or something like that. Like so say it was you, for example, in Manchester, and
don't rub it in, mate.
So you're too far away from Saunton or anywhere like nice to surf, right? Right up there in the cold, where you probably jumpers and trousers already at this time of year up there, isn't it? Well, yeah. So
Parker jackets.
Yeah. So no, I mean you can go to Surf Snowdonia, but how that's still a distance, isn't it?
Yeah. It's about an hour and a half. I don't know why I'm telling you the exact.
Why you're not going after work then if it's only an hour and a bit?
After work, because my working life is mental. I've got quite too much on. I'll go in the day, like if I don't have. Why am I telling you this?
Yeah, where are you going?
Anyway, where I'm going with this is if you can't go all the time, like so I'm taking the piss. It's not practical for you to go to Surf Snowdonia every night after work, or whatever, because you've got other stuff like most people.
Yeah.
And we're lucky in a way where we can, if there's a good surf that week, we'll try and get down once a week in the evening, especially throughout the summer.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then through the winter, it is weekends, basically.
Yeah.
It's the only time, unless I've got to look at a job in Devon that day, I should tell my customers, and because I'm going surfing. I shouldn't have said that, because now if any of them listen to this, they're going to know. Anyway, I digress again. But what I'm saying is the people that can only go on weekends or stuff like that, if they got their fitness up to this level, they're going to enjoy and get so much more out of that session when they go, rather than just because having an it's gone from having an all right surf and feeling pretty knackered afterwards to having an amazing surf and feeling like, actually, I could probably get back in and do that again now.
But it's like you mentioned earlier, it's about doing it all efficiently. So when you're actually about to perform the thing that you're here to do, which is surf that wave, you don't feel exhausted for the paddling out.
Yeah.
And and if it is a particularly difficult paddle out, you can do it, and then generally the waves at the back are better, aren't they? So you can then it increases your joy of surfing. Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say, but in a really long-winded way.
A lot of the Greg LeMond, who won the Tour de France twice, he said once about cycling, and it applies to any sport that you do. It never gets easier; you just get faster, and there is some truth in that. I think you probably will come out of the surf.
It applies to everything.
You probably will come out of the surf knackered, but you'll have had a much better surf.
Yeah.
You would have travelled probably a lot further, covered a lot more distance, and probably caught more waves. And you might come out energised, and that'll probably be because what used to be a hard session for you is now an easy session. Yeah. But if you go on a bigger day or a more challenging day, you'll probably come out knackered, but it will be within your capability. You've got to train for that. If you don't live in Devon or Cornwall within 5 miles of the fucking coast, you've got to train for it. The only way you can do that is on land, or you can do bits in the pool. But again, swimming isn't surfing. There are quite notable differences.
No, like I said earlier, I found that as well, because I can swim and swim. Yeah. But whereas as soon as I start paddling, after about 5 minutes, I get knackered, and then I get it's like a second wind, but it's like a second wind that just lasts the whole session.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps. Swimming's amazing for surfing, but it's just one tool.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Alan. What a lovely goal. We've made a real friend.
You have. I don't like him. I know he's listening to this bit, so yeah.
Oh man, the amount of banter that's been on that group chat.
Literally, just me, full abuse all the time.
Yeah. No.
Honestly, every time Leighton says something, it's just me. I write something back, and then Leighton normally replies with, "What a prick." That's the whole gist of it.
Yeah.
But the amount of information to take away from that was absolutely phenomenal.
And there's even more in episode 2.
There is.
Love the story because I don't think he really wanted to say the story about being in the hotel. So
his hotel boner. Yeah.
So I'm glad you put him on the spot.
Well, he told me about it before, so I was obviously going to ask him about it in the podcast.
It's a mistake.
So that was brilliant. So join us next time for part 2, and that'll be a continuation, and that goes into all the other parts of surfing.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about our fitness level at the end of episode 2.
Yeah. So don't forget, give us a subscribe and like on YouTube, and give us a follow on Instagram. If you're on there, we are on there. That's where we're most active.
Yeah.
And we have YouTube videos as well, so you can see how crap we really are at surfing. So go check them out.
Or you can head over to iTunes and leave a review there. They're always nice to read.
Yeah. So don't forget, if you want to support the show, there's plenty of ways to do it. Go on to our website, theuksurfshow.co.uk. Click on the drop-down menu of support the show, and there is a number of ways you can do it there. Most useful on there, I think, at the moment is book the Wave. If you're going to book a session at the Wave Bristol, if you go through our website and book it, it won't cost you any more, but we will get a little kickback from your booking, and it all helps towards the running of the show.
Yeah, it's a great way to support the show. There are also a number of affiliates on there as well. So if you wanted, for instance, a Pop-Up Pro, if you click the link and bought Pop-Up Pro, again, it helps support our show. You can also buy us a coffee if you like.
Yes, buy us a coffee. We don't drink coffee, but that's just what the app's called. So, yeah. And there's other things like there's the massage guns, and there's holiday places, all sorts of things that we've got affiliate programs with. And that all helps to support the show.
Yep.
So don't forget discount codes. Then.
Yes. So discount codes for Logfin Co. is the UK Surf Show 10, and that will get you 10% off anything you order from the Logfin Co.
And also for 15% off North Core, our original discount code.
Yep.
It is now changed to SS2021. That is SS2021.
And that will get you 15% off your order.
Yeah. And then don't forget our discount code again for Golden Boy is UK Surf Show, all one word, and that will get you 10% off Golden Boy. That is Golden Boy BUOY.
Yes.
Go and check their t-shirts out. They've got some really nice t-shirts, and they've got some really cool little bits and pieces.
Yeah, I know, it's really classic design t-shirts. If you like that kind of retro surf kind of brand look, then that's definitely a place to go. So there's actually loads of stuff on that. Seeing Christmas is on the horizon, which I do not like.
If anyone wants to buy us anything for Christmas.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for today's show. So we'll see you next time with part 2 of The Anatomy of a Surfer.
Cheers.
Bye.